I had felt so isolated back in the early days. So I really wanted to share my story and share how I'd got through some of the really difficult times in my life.
Even your childhood wasn't easy. You haven't had it easy ever.
That is what had helped build that resilience in me, because I had to. There was no choice in the matter.
In this episode, we chat with Alex Fevola, entrepreneur, author, makeup artist, photographer and founder of Runway Room, a cosmetic brand built on making professional, cruelty-free beauty accessible to all.
I wanted more than anything to have my independence financially. And the first 6 years was solid, on the floor, doing hair and makeup all day long. And it gave me such purpose and pride.
So how did things start for you?
That was probably definitely the most difficult time of my life.
You've had a lot of pressure throughout your life. How do you look after your physical health and your mental health? Let's meet someone who turned her passion for beauty into a thriving brand, faced life's toughest challenges with courage, and inspires women to embrace confidence and authenticity. I'm Kate Save. The Inspired CEO starts now. Welcome to The Inspired CEO, where each episode we explore the innovative wellness practices that are driving success and longevity in the modern business world. In this episode, we chat with Alex Fevola, entrepreneur, author, makeup artist, photographer and founder of Runway Room, a cosmetic brand built on making professional, cruelty-free beauty accessible to all. A mother of 4, Alex has lived much of her life in the public eye as the wife of AFL footballer Brendan Fevola, while carving out her own identity as a business leader and author of the memoir Silver Linings. Her story is one of resilience, reinvention and strength. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
I must say, your book was absolutely captivating. I could not put your book down.
Oh, thank you.
It was amazing. And
thank you.
So brave of you to write your story end to end and to put everything out there as well.
Yeah, look, it was a lot. As you know, I've had a lot happen to me in my life, but I had decided quite some time ago that I was going to write about it, and part of that was a therapeutic thing, and also with the vision of one day sharing my story, because I had felt so isolated back in the early days, just not really having anyone else to reach out to for advice or... So I really wanted to share my story and share how I'd got through some of the really difficult times in my life. But I wanted to wait until Mia particularly was older, and all of my kids were a bit older, so that, they all understood and knew what had happened, because, when they're little, you don't sort of share that sort of stuff with them. So the timing was right to sort of, get it all out, and I'm glad I did. I was really frightened of sharing my story, because it is such a personal story, and a lot of people had no idea what had happened to me in the early days. But I am happy to say that it is, it's something that I'm happy I did now.
You must be so proud of yourself, literally. And I think being in the public eye, people don't know your personal story. They only know what they see in the headlines or on the Instagram posts or what someone else has said. And can you tell people, so how did things start for you? So even your childhood wasn't easy. You haven't had it easy ever.
It's funny, because I don't look back at my childhood as being difficult, really, although we did move around a lot, and then, yes, my parents did separate. But prior to the separation, I feel like I had quite a average, childhood for that time. And I always felt safe and loved, and I had a pretty good childhood from that respect. I did encounter a lot of change. I think we moved around a lot, and so I had a lot of, starting new schools, which I was a really shy kid. So that was difficult. I hated starting a new school. But I think that is what had helped build that resilience in me because I had to. I mean, there was no choice in the matter. So, yeah, that was my childhood was pretty straightforward, and then my parents separated, and that was kind of difficult. Yeah. My mum went through a difficult sort of era in her life after the separation, and, you know, my dad sort of wasn't around a lot. So, yeah, I think that was another time in my life where I was, I guess, forced to become very independent very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And that, it was probably the worst that had happened to me at that point. I felt like I'd had a pretty crazy life and sort of sailed through without a lot of drama. And then, when I sort of got into my early 20s is when things sort of turned pear-shaped, shall we say.
Yes. So you had me at 22.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that didn't go as easy as it could have gone either.
No, that was that was probably definitely the most difficult time of my life. So I'd been with my partner for 4.5 years, and we had broken up, and then we sort of were still sort of seeing each other and sort of seeing whether we were going to actually break up or whether we were going to give it another go. And then I found out I was pregnant.
Yes.
So that was a big shock. I just absolutely had no idea. I'd gone to the doctors thinking I was ill. I was thinking something awful was wrong with me, and found out it was actually that I was pregnant. And so we decided to stay together and have the baby. And then, the pregnancy was pretty standard really, other than being young and sort of having no idea what I was in for. Then I gave birth to Mia in January, and 4.5 weeks later, my partner took his own life out of nowhere. It was very unexpected. Yeah. It was something that I never ever thought this particular person would do. So that was a huge shock, obviously. But I'd never really lost anybody at that point. So it was just a horrendous time. And then the same day that Lonnie had passed, I hemorrhaged, because what had happened was there'd been retained placenta from the birth, and that hadn't been picked up. So it went on for 4 weeks. I had sort of started feeling a bit off, and I wasn't feeling 100%, but, you know, I'd had a really rough time with the birth.
Absolutely.
So that happened, and then I got rushed to hospital on that very same day, and it was just the most chaotic period of my life. I ended up having to have surgeries. Everything seemed to be going wrong. Every time they touched me, they would do something else that would create another problem. There was errors made.
It was quite near fatal at one point.
It was,
wasn't it?
It absolutely would have been if we didn't argue and fight. And it was just this one beautiful nurse that gave my mum the confidence to keep pushing back, because they just kept trying to sedate me and you'll be fine, wait till the doctor comes in the morning. I'm like, Mum, I know something's wrong, it's just, this is not right. And the nurse was like, yes, you need to fight.
Thank heavens.
I know, she was amazing. And so eventually the consultant came in, it was middle of the night, and
they get grumpy too.
He was absolutely ropeable.
It's your fault that I'm
here. Yes, it was awful. And I was, because I was a young girl, you know, you feel so
small.
Yeah, and you just feel like I was like constantly apologising. And I look back at it now and I think, oh my gosh, like the way they made me feel. And I remember the anaesthetist, he terrified me because he was raging. And look, rightly so, he'd been on for something like 14 hours straight, and he was, you know, going off his rocker saying,
but not your fault.
You know, and I was just like shaking. This is whilst he's putting me under. He's raging about still being there. And I was like, please, like my baby's only got me. And I was like trying to beg him to, you know,
calm down,
to concentrate, because I was thinking, oh my God, he's not even concentrating on what he's doing. But, you know, they did discover that, in fact, there had been a huge error made, and they'd perforated my uterus, they'd perforated my bowel, and I was bleeding internally. And had they left me until morning, I would have been completely septic by that because I had toxemia at this stage.
Goodness me. And you knew you were sick. And
I could feel it,
yeah. I always advocate for people to stand up for their own health. I've had a very similar thing and emergency surgery and everything, and you are the only person that can feel what you're feeling. And if you don't feel right, never be quiet. Never, ever be quiet.
I'm exactly the same. I'm like, you have to be your own advocate when it comes to health, and don't always assume that the doctors know, because I think people are like, oh, well, they're the doctors, they know, but they don't always know. They can't possibly know everything. And I think if you feel like something is not right, you have to keep investigating.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So fortunately you come through all of that. You survived. You've got your beautiful baby Mia who gives you purpose.
Yes.
You're doing photography and makeup?
So I'd been doing makeup before I had Mia, and I had decided when I was in hospital recovering, I ended up spending a few weeks in hospital. I decided in that period that I was going to start doing photography as well. The person I'd been working for, he did makeup and photography, and so it was amazing. He'd be able to create an entire look from the hair and makeup through to shooting it, and I thought, gosh, I just want to be able to do that. So I started learning. I'd learned a lot from Bill anyway, and I'd worked with other photographers as well. And back in my modelling days, I'd sort of picked up a lot about lighting, and I had a good basic understanding to then sort of, I guess I could say I was self-taught. I did sort of learn a lot from other people, but I didn't really study it. So I just bought myself a camera, and I just started taking photos of people, building a folio, and then I went into business with two friends, which was it was photography and it was a modelling school and it was a bit of everything. And then I went out on my own and was booking weddings, and I was doing a lot of model portfolio shoots and headshots for actors and things like that. So it took off really quickly considering I wasn't very experienced, I was really lucky.
And you've got a newborn baby at the time, or a very young baby. So
I did,
incredible. So, and then the next step, so going from just working independently to that to, you meet Brendan, and then starting your own business. So what happened in that chapter?
So I started my own business first. Yes. I met Brendan after. I had already established what then was predominantly photography, but I did hair and makeup as well. So I would book a wedding and I would do the makeup for all the bride and the bridesmaids in the morning. Then I would stay on with them and I'd shoot the whole wedding. Wow. So it was a great little package, and it was long days, but it was really good money for a single mum, and I'd only work 1 or 2 days a week, and I would make really good money. So given that I was on my own and I didn't have child support or anything like that, I had to do a job that was like that, and I had people to help me on the weekends with Mia because it was the weekend. Weddings are always on Fridays or Saturdays. So I was really lucky in that respect. And Mia would go with my mum or my sister, and I sort of really got that off the ground quite quickly. And then I met Brendan. So I was sort of set up in my own studio, and I was living out on my own at this stage. I'd moved out from my mum's and it was just Mia and I. And then I met Brendan.
Yeah. And how long until you guys had a family?
So we got married 2 years after meeting.
Yes.
And then we had Lenny a year after that. So it was pretty quick.
Yeah. But Brendan adored Mia. So you knew he was...
He loves kids, and he was like, he'd have 10 if he could. So
so
he was very ready. Well, kind of ready. Yeah. Because then, he was still very immature and young in some ways. But it was pretty quick. So had Lenny, and we've ended up with 4. So
it's amazing. And so through this period, you've moved. When do you move? So you moved to Queensland at some point there?
So Brendan moved in with me. Yes. First of all, we stayed where I was living for a year or two, and then we moved out, and we were living together. I think it was a good, how many years in would it have been? Maybe it was a few years later. So he was at Carlton for quite a few years, and then he was traded to Brisbane.
Yes.
And that's when we moved to Queensland. Yeah.
And you come back to Melbourne, so you guys have a bit of a split there.
We did, yep.
When does Runway Room come?
So it's quite, it was 2012,
Yes.
and I think I moved back in 2010.
Right, okay.
So, yeah, I moved back in 2010. It was almost straight away I was thinking, I've got to do something. So I did Dancing with the Stars, which I was just talking about earlier. So I did that, and it was sort of straight off the back of that, I was like, right, I'm going to do this. I'd had this idea about this business concept. It was a new concept in Australia. No one was really doing it. And I thought, I'm going to do it. Like I needed to do it. I needed
independence.
Yeah. I wanted more than anything to have my independence financially, and I'd had this idea for quite some time, and I'd kind of done it already, but on a much smaller scale. My little studio is that I would offer hair and makeup and the full sort of makeover service for people, but it wasn't really marketed like that. It was usually in line with a photo shoot. So, but I just knew that people wanted that. Like at the time they were going to a hairdresser and then they'd have to go into a shopping centre and go to a makeup counter.
Yes.
So I'm like, no, there's definitely a market for it. So basically, after Dancing with the Stars ended, I sort of had a bit of a lull for a little bit, and I was like, what am I going to do? And then I was like, I'm doing it. And so...
You've got 3 kids at this point?
3 kids,
Wow, wow.
Yeah, I found a store, just wasn't even on a busy... When I look back, I think, oh my goodness, like I actually can't believe it worked because it wasn't in a great spot.
Yes.
I had no money behind me to do marketing and advertising, and I just really relied on word of mouth. And I was just so lucky that the women that came and that, you know, loved the experience really did help me build that business.
So good. Community.
Yeah, it was community, and it was good old-fashioned word of mouth because it was really right at the start of social media. So it wasn't even social media in the beginning. It was not really probably until a couple of years in that I started to utilise that more.
Yeah.
I was a bit slow. I wish I'd been a bit quicker on it, but I was a bit slow in getting to understand it and utilise it properly. But yeah, it was amazing, and it gave me such purpose and pride.
And you were in there long hours too, like
very
you
long
were
hours.
in there doing the work. It
Non-stop.
wasn't you running it. And
oh no, gosh
you
no.
were in there.
Yeah, I was 10-hour days, 6 days a week, 7 days a week often, because I used to do kids' parties as well on Sundays. And yeah, I worked really hard in the beginning. The first 6 years was solid on the floor, doing hair and makeup all day long. And then it was sort of about that time I started to look at trying to sort of more grow the brand as a brand. I'd already started developing products, and I kind of knew that was where I wanted to take it.
Tell me about the products and what makes them different.
Well, one, they're all made here in Australia, so that's they're actually manufactured here, which is gives us a bit of a point of difference. They're easy to use. They're designed to be easy for anybody to apply and get a really good result.
Oh wow!
They're weightless, they're glowy, they're fresh, and they, like, our foundation won't break you out. It doesn't clog pores. Everything's really sort of like a mild formula. So it's a balance between being, green. You can't really say green because no beauty brand is actually completely organic or clean, because you can't be. But it doesn't contain PFAS. It's talc-free. It's petroleum-free. It doesn't have any of the nasties that a lot of the other brands.
And things like that.
Yes. So we've been able to sort of get the balance right between performance and being good for you and not sort of being harmful. So, yeah, I'm really proud of the products. They've won awards. We've got some amazing sort of staple bestsellers in our range that, we've sold tens of thousands of over the last few years, and we're still growing. We're still so tiny, really, on the scale of things. So, I'm still as excited about the brand now as I was 12 years ago. So.
Oh, amazing. So you've had up to 5 stores, but then was it during COVID that you let some of the stores go? Yeah.
It was actually very lucky because right before COVID, I'd already decided to close down my Prahran store, and I was going to, so my idea was I was going to merge my Hampton store and my Prahran store together and sort of go somewhere like either Brighton or Armidale. And my lease was up and they were wanting to develop this shop in Hampton. So I was like, okay, this is it. This is the time. I'm going to have to move. So that was already happening. Both the leases came up at the same time. I was looking at stores when it just first started to be like people started doing the elbow thing, and it was all sort of, and I'm thinking, oh, this isn't looking good. This is weird. Like everything was just changing, and so I felt really unsettled. And I almost signed a lease, and something in me was like, just wait, and a few more weeks, and then we'll see. And then it went into lockdown. So I was so lucky because I'd closed down those stores, hadn't signed on a new, so I didn't have that expense.
Yes. That pressure would have been huge when you're growing and you're expanding and you're going really well, and then to have to cop something that's nobody's fault. And
it would have been terrible. It would have been very hard to keep all the overheads paying them when you couldn't trade.
Absolutely.
So we were. That was a very fortunate timing for me. And so then when we came out of COVID, we went through a period where the business kind of just surged throughout COVID.
With
people
products.
were watching, the products, and which was, a blessing for us because I'd been wanting to focus more on the products. But, when you're in a business and your service side's so hectic, you're so
it's
hard to break away.
Do it all at once.
So it gave me that opportunity to just focus on the products.
And so that growth of the products then, was that through social media?
It was through social media, And it's funny because I had never really done, to camera tutorials before then.
Yeah.
And then I started doing them and the sales skyrocketed, and I was like, oh my God, like it was just unbelievable.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is just bizarre.
So you knew that it was right then.
Definitely. And then that's when I think the momentum just built on people going, oh my God, these products are amazing. And they were telling their friends, and then their friends would see them wearing it and be like, you look great. And they're like, oh, it's this new makeup brand. And it just, the momentum sort of kicked off then, and it's sort of been going ever since.
And I love that you've done this all by yourself. You did not have the support there. You didn't have the partner at home looking after everything.
Well, I did in periods.
In periods,
I did in periods. Like Brendan was sort of there in the early days. He was still around a little bit, and then we had a period where we were separated for a couple of years, and that was probably when I was in the thick of the longest days. It was hard, but I was really lucky. I had support from my mum and his mum who helped out with the kids.
So good.
Yes. I was really lucky. And I lived really close to
where you were working at the time. And so what's next for Runway Room? So the product range is growing, is that?
It is. We've got a full range. So we have over 150 SKUs in the range, all made in Australia.
Yes.
We've really sort of focused on sustainability, so a lot of our products are refillable. We've partnered with Maya, so we're now in Maya, and that's going really well. We've just opened another location last week.
The international market, will you look at that?
Yes, we did. We actually have, we're available in the UK, so we launched over with QVC, but I am wanting a retail partner over there. So that's, on the agenda. I would love to sort of, see us in a Boots pharmacy or something like that. So there's, big hopes and dreams, and still working towards it. So
incredible. And so tell me how you look after your health and fitness. You obviously stay in very good shape, but you've had a lot of pressure throughout your life. How do you look after your physical health and your mental health?
It's funny because I find that I'm just like this. Sometimes I'm really good and I'm really focused on health and fitness, and I'm diligent and I'm sticking to it, and other times I can't seem to find the time, and I'm, trying to get to a Pilates, and but I have found in the last probably 2 years that, or maybe 3 years now, Pilates is my number one choice.
Too. Love. It feels
hard,
but it's balance,
you walk out feeling good. Your body feels better. It eliminates aches and pains. So good for you. So Pilates is my main go-to, and walking / jogging, trying to sort of keep my cardiovascular fitness, but that's hard. It's hard in winter anyway.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm up and down. I try to eat relatively clean and healthy. Try to make sure I'm eating for nutritional value.
Yes.
But I'm still eating chocolate, and it's
but
hard
the
to.
base. You get the
Yeah,
base.
I get the
right.
base. Yeah, and as I say, there's times when I'm really great and I'm just in that zone, and then there's other times and I'm like, oh, can't get it together. But Pilates
You've got to
has
do
been,
it for the family anyway.
yeah,
so
exactly. Well,
you've
being
got
an
to
older
have
mum,
it.
I'm like, I need to stay fit and healthy. So I'm definitely trying to. I'm probably more disciplined than I ever have been. I think the older I'm getting, the more focus I put on health and wellness, and I think that's just comes naturally because you have to.
You feel better, and you've got more energy, and and mentally you can perform.
Oh, it impacts everything. I think if I'm not feeling good and strong, it affects my work, it affects my personal life, my social life, everything. So I've really learned to just put the time and effort in, and then the overflow effect is it has a good effect on everything else in my life.
Well, congratulations. And for anyone who hasn't read Silver Linings, I would highly recommend it. And if they want to follow you at the Runway Room, where should they go?
So at Runway Room is the handle, and at Alex Fevola Makeup is my personal. But we do lots of makeup tutorials and talk heaps about beauty tips, and especially for women over 40.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you.
This is the Inspired CEO, and we'll be right back.